Hey friends, another day. Today was a palliative day. I was consulting in the hospital and had a really hard case. So I am the provider that people call when they have families that, I don't want to say difficult, because no one's difficult. These are challenging times, but when they're like, we've all talked to them and I don't think they understand, like I'm the person that this gets handed to. And so I take my job seriously. I was called in on a family who the patient was actually doing okay. She was not the healthiest. I mean, just to be honest, she was not the healthiest. She had multiple comorbidities, several chronic heart conditions. Almost all of her heart valves were not working or stenosis. Her kidneys were starting to struggle. So they stabilized her and they were already starting discharge planning. And she goes into cardiac arrest. Pulseless electrical activity. The only thing we can do is CPR. She is a full code. She's 80 years old and in an 80-year-old body. And they did 3 rounds of CPR. She had one rib that was not, and I don't even want to say fractured, I mean crushed. She had one rib left that was fully intact. She was intubated. They were able to extubate her. But like I talked about in other videos, if you haven't seen it, go back and look at the CPR video I made. It restarted her heart, but it was at the sacrifice of her brain. She had no purposeful activity. The breathing that she was doing was really what we see with someone who's actively dying. So these are not coordinated breaths. Her brain is not controlling her breathing at this point. She was not responding to painful stimuli. She was not opening her eyes to verbal stimuli, had no pupillary reaction. So for all intents and purposes, you know, she had suffered severe irreversible brain damage. She was extremely edematous or swollen because they were still running tube feeds and bolusing water and IV fluids. And again, talked about that. Go back and check the video. And her body wasn't processing any of it. It was going nowhere. She was putting out no urine. This lady is actively dying. So I go and meet with the family. It's 2 brothers and the patient's sister. So 2 sons. The patient had 2 sons, so they're decision makers, and the patient's sister. And I kind of break everything down. And I think they got it. They understood. They said, you know, no one has ever explained it this thoroughly before. Thank you, thank you. We start talking about hospice. They say, yes, we would want this for my mom. I was like, I got this. I will handle this. There's nothing else you guys need to do. Just want to also make sure we're on the same page. I discuss their code status. I say, hey, since we're going comfort, you know, it would make sense to just update her code status to do not resuscitate because our goal is comfort now. And the son that's in person with me, I have one son in person, one son on the phone, and he looks at me and he says, I can't do that. I'm not going to kill her. Oh, God. Okay, let's talk about this. So we talk about it. What's your goal? You know, I explain, hey, we've already done 3 rounds of CPR and this is kind of what it got us. So when her heart stops, it's not because it needs us to jump on it for 20 more minutes. You know, it's time for her to peacefully transition. And he says, well, I'm not making that decision. I'm not doing that. And he points to the phone where the other brother, if he wants to do it, he can, but I'm not making the decision. So the other brother pretty much says the same thing. They refuse to make a decision. Mom is actively dying. She has had healthcare providers pound on her chest to the point where all of her ribs are crushed. She is not responsive, not going to be responsive, and she is actively dying. The mom's sister says to them, I'm going to let you guys make this decision, but if you choose to continue to do this, you're torturing her. And I couldn't have said it better. They just refused to make a decision, and I had to pretty much leave this woman dying in her bed, knowing that her heart is going to stop sooner rather than later, and I probably give her 24 hours. And the healthcare team will have to do everything all over again, knowing that this is not going to yield the results they want. And so that's a hard day in palliative. This was a hard one, and I don't know what I could have said to have changed the outcome or really get them to understand. So that's the world of palliative.